Chapter 6 Hunkules' Song. For what seemed like the 1000th time, Hunkules looked into the eyes of a drawing of Lily White. It was part of a wanted poster, reading, "Wanted, Lily White, dead or alive. Reward 100 gold pieces." In the middle was drawn a rather unflattering, though not inaccurate, drawing of the girl. Hunkules hammered the poster into a tree, wiped some sweat from his forehead, and turned to the Queen, who was sitting in her 2-horse open-top royal carriage and reclining lazily. Her pale face and black hair didn't look like they belonged in the daylight.
"I've been out in these woods for hours," Hunkules whined. "How many of these posters do I have to put up?"
"You'll nail up those posters," said the Queen, glancing sharply at Hunkules, "until there's one on every tree in the forest. Maybe next time you'll think twice before you lie to your queen." Hunkules turned to another tree and began to nail up a poster. He muttered under his breath in a sing-song voice,
"I'm the Queen. I'm so scary. I wish I was paler."
"What was that?" demanded the Queen.
"Nothing,"
said Hunkules, smiling innocently. "That's what I thought," said the Queen. "You know, Hunkules, my slave, if my magic mirror were working right now, I wouldn't have to sit here and babysit you."
"Oh, you don't have to worry,"
said Hunkules, changing from his whining voice to his falsely compliant voice.
"I'll be real good. I'll put up a poster on every tree in the forest. You'll see."
"You will?" asked the Queen, suspicious.
"Gee whiz, you know I will,"
said Hunkules. Said the Queen. "Very well. I trust that you will not waste your time here. If you do, there shall be further punishments." She steepled her hands darkly as she said this.
"I'll be good,"
said Hunkules, nodding his head ridiculously. "Very well," said the Queen. She sat up and turned forward. "Driver," she called, "I'm done here. Take me back to the castle."
"Yes, Your Majesty,"
yelled the overly enthusiastic driver, flicking the horse's reins and yelling, "Haw!" Hunkules acted busy until the carriage was out of sight, then dropped the hammer and his bag of posters and leaned against a tree. He sighed, then reached down to his bag and pulled out one of the posters. He stared into that white face, Lily White's, but his eyes quickly fell down to the girl's booty. Of course, her bottom wouldn't normally have been included in a wanted poster, but Hunkules had spoken to the printer and managed to have a small insert picture of her wide, and fully clothed, of course, rear end printed on the bottom left corner of every poster.
"Oh, Lily White,"
said Hunkules to the poster,
"you truly are the woman for me."
As Hunkules stood in his swoon, a fanciful arrangement of woodland creatures gathered. They were all there. A few squirrels, lots of birds, a turtle, a wise country owl, a naive deer, a dog and a fox, some mice wearing clothes. At last, even the bruised and battered Mr. Bunny himself shambled into the crowd. Hunkules, partly fearing that he was completely losing his mind, but mostly in a lustful mood about Lily White, raised his voice and began to sing and dance in front of his beloved poster, Hunkules' Plan, to the tune of Hotel California by the Eagles.
On a secluded roadway, a rabbit flies through the air, a look of terror on the face of that hare. Up ahead in the distance, I saw a girl that's so white. I held my hand up to shield my eyes, her skin was too freaking bright. Then she stood on the highway, I heard her angry yell, and I was thinking to myself, this girl is crazy and she's way too pale. Then she turned around, and as she looked away, I saw the badonk-a-donk, and I was like, oh hey.
Lily White seemed then to step from her poster and began to dance merrily with Hunkules, and the animals now acted as backup singers.
Lily White has the most awesome buttocks. What a superior, posterior. Plenty of junk in Lily White's massive trunk. She had so nice a form that I could have sworn. I went up to the girl, showed her my biceps. She said, those muscles are super hot, they deserve some respect. And I was like, yeah, girl. And she was like, oh, you're so cute. I said, yes, this I know. Your observation's astute. She said, kiss me now, you big hunk of man. And so I told her that I will try and do the best that I can. I leaned in for her lips then, and she fell down a ditch. And then I went home as fast as I could, so I could make a sandwich. Lily White has the most awesome buttocks. What a superior, posterior. Plenty of junk in Lily White's massive trunk. Her head was in a hive, but she's still alive. Lily White's still around now, and I'm starting to think, if Lily White's the palest girl in the world, that means that she'll be next queen. So if I get with this girl now, that means I can be king. I can force her to marry me, and who cares what she thinks? Some birds then tweeted some awesome notes that almost sounded like a guitar solo. At the same time, Lily White's dreamy form began to run playfully from Hunkules. Hunkules pranced and skipped after her through the trees as the animals bounded around him and the birds soared overhead and continued their melodies as Hunkules began to sing again. Lily White has the most awesome buttocks. What a superior, posterior. Plenty of junk in Lily White's massive trunk. I'll force her to wear a ring, and then I'll be king. Hunkules dropped to one knee after finishing this line, strumming an air guitar, and he just couldn't contain himself. He laughed a laugh that would have made the queen proud. It was so evil. "Hunkules!" bellowed the queen. "Why are you here again?" Hunkules looked around now and saw that he was kneeling in the queen's throne room. The queen was sitting on her throne, a green vein throbbing on her pale forehead. "Oh, well, I was just..." stammered Hunkules. "What did you just say?" demanded the queen, bursting from her throne. "You'll be the king? Subterfuge! Mutiny! Treason! I'll have your head for this!" Hunkules looked terrified,
Then at once his face smoothed into a broad, perhaps false, grin.
"Wait," said Hunkules. "Did you mean... Oh, but you thought..."
Hunkules let out a loud, hollow laugh.
"Your Majesty, this is a queendom. There can't be a king. You should know that."
"Indeed?" said the Queen, looking uncertain. "Then why did you say—"
"That I wanted to be king? Jeez, not of the queendom. Well, that just doesn't make sense. Most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Now, I'm gonna be the king of rock and roll."
At this, Hunkules began to play his air guitar again, while imitating, badly, an awesome guitar solo. The Queen sat down slowly, and she took a deep breath. "With a guitar solo like that," said the Queen, sounding relieved, "you'll be lucky if you ever become the King of Fools."
"Oh,"
laughed Hunkules cautiously.
"Good one, Your Majesty."
The Queen stared at Hunkules for a moment, then shrieked, "Get back to work!"